Thank you for listening to The Scene. And thanks to our sponsors, Elite Feeds in Tyndall, South Dakota, Reno Construction, Chris Hay Grinding, Tyndall Motors, Frank's Trading Post, and Team Pluto. These fine businesses have sponsored Hot Dog Night in Tyndall, South Dakota, June 7th. We're so happy to have the support of our community and the small businesses inside of it. Thank you for being part of The Scene. Well, welcome into the very first live taping of Club David Songwriter Night, presented by The Scene. I'm your host, Bubba Starts, and with me today, our first interview, Mama Sam. How you doing?
I'm doing real good. How you doing?
I'm good. This is fun.
It is.
Yeah. So, for everyone here, can you tell us a little bit about who is Mama Sam?
I am a local live painter and studio artist. I'm a local live painter and studio artist here in the Sioux Falls area. I go to concerts and throw paint.
That's awesome. I'm a big fan of your work.
Thank you.
How long you been painting, Sam?
Oh, wow. I went to college for fine art and theater back in the early 90s and then took some time off to raise children, and I got back into it about 7-8 years ago.
Awesome. Where'd you go to school?
Augustana.
Oh, nice. So right here in town, in the
Yep.
fine arts program.
Yeah.
Did you graduate?
No.
No?
At 3 years in.
Typical art student.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Once it starts feeling like school, right? It's like, yeah, I think I'm kind of over this.
no, I was in for it. It just when the VA said they'd stop paying for it.
Yeah. The checks stopped cashing. It's
Yeah.
funny how things stop.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome, Sam. So you've been painting again, what'd you say, 6 or 7 years ago?
Yeah, about 7-8 years. Yeah.
Nice. And now you paint away from the events as well, correct?
Correct.
All right. So you got a studio or something in town, or what do you?
I had a studio back Jam Art and Supplies, the Exposure Studios. I had studio space in there, and then they closed. And then I didn't have a place to paint, so I'm like, well, let's paint in the bar when there's a band. And that worked. And now I'm in the process of setting up a studio in my house.
Awesome. You got a big house?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah. So
Makes it a little bit easier.
got a 3-bedroom. It's me and my husband. So got
Fantastic.
no kids there no more.
Who's recently home again too? So congratulations
Yeah.
to you guys. That was really nice to see on the
Yeah, it was.
Facebook. We've become good friends, Sam.
Yeah.
I'm really happy that we've gotten to meet. You bring a lot to the live shows, and I'll speak as a musician who's played on the stage and as an art fan who's been out in the crowd. It's really cool to watch the physical manifestation of the music that's happening. I've been a big fan of the process of it since I lived out in Oregon, 2007, 2008. Saw a lot of that. The festival scene, right, has a lot of that. So really cool to come back here. And I think the first thing I saw you paint at might have been the Camp Comfort show, or seeing you around that time and
Yeah.
painting with the guys. And we've run into each other. There's some cool places. You've been to Monk's a couple of times.
Yep.
I think we're trying to get some stuff started there. What do you think about that?
That'd be cool.
Yeah, wouldn't be a bad thing. I really hope so, because otherwise it sounds like we may lose it. So support live music. Come out. Thank you
Yeah.
to the people here tonight. Give yourselves a big round of applause for supporting things that are a little outside of the box. This is just the start of something that's really going to be beautiful, and I can't wait to see where we are a year from now, right? If this is the start and we already have this many of us here and this energy in the room, where do we go? Club David's going to see a lot of changes in the next year. We're downstairs tonight. I know the upstairs will be open later this summer. Maybe we'll be on the patio at some point.
Oh, that would be cool.
I'm hoping to do a lot more fun stuff in here. So, have you partied in this room before, Sam? I feel like I knew the answer to that. What's this place like when it's full of sweaty bodies?
Fun.
Yeah. I had a feeling.
I was partying here, as in Club David, the concept, back when it was still 322.
Okay.
So way back, like 30 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
322.
Anybody in here remember those days? Yeah? Oh, a few. Alyssa. Oh, that's funny. Alyssa wasn't even a twinkle yet. Well, Sam, we appreciate you here at the scene. We appreciate you being in the scene, bringing your art to the people all the time. There's not a room I haven't seen you paint in at this point, except at my house. which I guess when we need a coat, I know who to call.
Hey, so all you gotta do is invite me down for like a jam session with your friends in your living room, and I'll come throw paint on something.
There we go. Oh, I love it, Sam. Anything you want to plug before I let you go?
Um, the Harmony Park is having their camp out on the 25th and 26th of this month.
Okay.
I should
25th
be
and
there.
26th of May.
Yep.
Harmony Park camp out.
Yep, I'll
It's
be
right
there.
there in Minnesota. What,
Mhm.
about 5-hour trip, 4-hour trip from here,
No,
maybe? Less
no,
than
no,
that?
no, no, not even.
No.
It's only it's like 10 minutes north of Albert Lee.
Okay. Hey, that's not far
So
at all.
It's like 2 hours.
Well, you guys heard it here on the scene. Let's get out to
Yeah.
Harmony Park on May 25th and 26th for a little camp out and have a good time.
Yep.
Mama Sam, thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Anytime.
Well, welcome back to Songwriter Night at Club David. We have the amazing Alyssa Keiser with us.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are
Yeah.
you?
Well, we're just glad you made it today.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's been a harrowing experience for you.
Absolutely. I'm glad I'm alive.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
left the planet for 8 minutes today.
Yep. I had my blood drawn out like a light. It was bad. And I'm trying to be a nurse too, so I don't know.
I hope it wasn't the sight of the blood.
No, I don't know what. I'm just like I didn't even feel it.
Yeah. They still took the blood though, didn't they?
Oh yeah, they made She got a little scared though. She like ripped it out a little too soon. They probably did it while I was out.
Yeah. Well, at least you didn't have to see that part.
Right.
Nice. Well, we've gotten to know each other a little bit working together, but for everyone else, why don't you tell us a little bit about who Alyssa Keiser is?
Well, I'm from Alcester, South Dakota, little tiny town, and I go to school in Yankton now at Mount Marty. I'm a nursing major, and I've been writing music since high school, since I started high school, and I just started recording it my freshman year of, I think, college. Yeah, and it just kind of started taking off. I record here in Sioux Falls at Wolby Studios, and yeah, I'm trying to branch out and play more in Sioux Falls. So.
Trying to pay for a nursing school
Oh my
through
God.
music?
We don't got to talk about that right now.
Oh, that's great. Well, I'm a huge fan of your original music, and we're going to get to a lot of that later tonight. That's obviously why we're here. But can you tell us maybe some of your influences for songwriting?
Yeah. So my first ever influence, and you hear this name, it's like nailed into your head, Taylor Swift. I was a fan of her since I was able to sing pretty much, and she had an album called Red, and I think that's where I really started picking up how to start writing and how to feel music instead of just hearing it and jamming or whatever. But after that, it's like Kelly Clarkson, Paramore, like Hayley Williams is my idol. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so those have been my biggest inspirations. Avril Lavigne, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry. Alyssa Keiser is going to be at the top of a lot of little girls' list in another 20 years. So
Hopefully.
I think you're well on your way. You definitely hear the Taylor Swift influence in your song Seatbelt, which we had on our first episode of Love Noise, which is another show within the show for the scene. If you haven't heard it yet and you haven't heard Alyssa's music, I definitely suggest that you go back, listen to the episode, and find her on Spotify. Great song. I just listened to it today. I told you it put me in tears again. There's a part in the song that you guys, I'm sure she'll play it for you tonight and everything too, but the way that it hits, and I can sit now, and as a recording artist myself, it's fun because I can feel almost what that experience. I know that experience of hearing your song just come to life, and all these parts and these things that you've thought of and you've written it, and you're an acoustic kind of singer-songwriter. You're not writing in the studio necessarily, right,
Yeah.
as a pop singer. So to have that come to life, can you kind of talk about what that experience was like with that song?
With Seatbelt?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, I wrote that when I was in a really low place, and I think it's more of this is when I just got done with like therapy for the first time after a stupid breakup, whatever. But I was just stressed with college, and that breakup, really had a toll on me, and it was more of like a reflection, like trying to figure out almost like a masochistic kind of view on myself, thinking, well, you do this, so this happens, it's your fault. Like, you walk yourself into these problems. So that's, I don't know. Yeah, and that's one of the first ones that I wrote completely to my guitar instead of just, like, I'm more of a piano writer, does that make sense?
Okay.
So
Are you more experienced on the piano as a player, or is it
Uh,
how did that kind of evolve?
I'm more experienced with my guitar. I'd say I'm better with the piano, though. I understand it more, and I know I can read music for a piano a lot better than I can for a guitar. I don't usually read music, but I just feel more when I play a piano, especially, and I just understand it better. It like feels more like what I'm comfortable with.
Interesting. Yeah, as someone who's never seen you play a piano before, I'm like, oh my God, well, why don't we have
Yeah.
a keyboard here tonight, right?
Right.
I want to see that. Well, now we got something to feature on the next time you're on the
Yeah.
That's awesome. So the first one that you've really written to the guitar, was there something special about that for you?
I mean, kind of, because usually I find a beat, minus like a couple of my songs that have been poems first. I usually find a beat and then I hear it in my head, like the melody, but this time I just like had words that I wanted to get out, but I wanted to get them out with my guitar instead of trying to sit there and just write it.
There's a special connection between the six strings of a guitar and the connection to the heart of a human being and the way that you're able to write songs with a guitar. I really believe there's something special about the instrument, right? You don't get all of the great music that came from the guitar, right? After, Leo Fender and Les Paul create these electric guitars and it changes music, that happens for a reason, right? There's something special about six strings and a voice and the way that they match together and the way that the words and the emotions of human beings can come out through those instruments. I don't know what it is. It's some kind of magic that's way beyond me, but I think that's what you're speaking about. Is there something about, because it's happened to me, and I never really take any credit for writing the songs either. I was just able to be an antenna for an emotion, overcome by an emotion, right? I mean, I'm sure I don't know if you write physically, people probably type all their songs now, but, tear-soaked pages, right? Where the tears are rolling out and the words are coming and it's not really you writing them anymore, right? I say they come from the ether. You can call it whatever you want to. I really don't care. We all know what that feeling is like, at least as songwriters and as artists. I think we're always chasing that and trying to find out how to stay in that, right? Or at least be able to dip in it when inspiration does strike. And yeah, at a very young age, you seem to have found that because yeah, your song put me in tears today. And it was just not the story itself is something that's new to music too, thanks to one Miss Taylor Swift. Girls feel confident to go tell their story now. Can you speak to just how growing up and hearing her songs gave you the confidence to kind of tell your stories through songs too?
Yeah. Again, like that album Red. I heard the song All Too Well, and that was my favorite song for a long time because I felt like it was me. Like I felt like it's almost like I wish I wrote that. I hear songs sometimes and I'm like, damn girl, I wish I wrote that. Now what, And I just kind of imagine myself like actually being the one who wrote that. And then I'm like, well, how can you do that and actually be the one who wrote it? And then be like, damn, I wrote that. Someone else is like, dang, I wish I wrote that.
I did it today, listening to Seatbelt. I was like, damn, I wish I wrote that. But that's what pushes us. That's what pushes great movements in music. And I think in the 60s, they all had that. They were all hanging out. The world was a lot smaller back then. The population was a lot smaller. And there was a lot of young people with very little adult supervision, right? The 60s didn't happen by accident. Post-war, everybody came home, had a shitload of kids, right? You have the baby boom, and you have all of these young people that are within 5 to 10 years of each other or less, all coming of age at the same time and all, having, significantly less parents. The world is totally different now to have that. So to have those kind of movements, it takes something different. And I think Taylor Swift and the explosion of female artists in that 2000s range, we're starting to see the consequences of that now with girls like yourself. We had our, mutual friend Emma Bertram on the show with us, and working. I'm seeing it locally on this scale. I can't imagine what it's like in the rest of the world, right? And we just haven't heard them or seen them yet. And the next pop stars and the next female songwriters telling your stories, because the patriarchy of music, those stories have not been told. right, and there's been so few of them. So I think it's really cool. You've landed at a really cool time in history, right, to be a female songwriter and to get out and tell the story of your generation. Like that's how you do it, and
Yeah.
you're already off to a great start. So I think we should hear some of those songs. What do you think?
All right.
Thank you for listening. Remember to go to patreon.com/thescenesd. Follow us on all your social media channels and make yourself part of The Scene. Thank you for listening to The Scene. And thanks to our sponsors, Elite Feeds in Tyndall, South Dakota, Breno Construction, Chris Hay Grinding, Tyndall Motors, Frank's Trading Post, and Team Pluto.